Hey everybody, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. We are live. And this is the town hall for Gay Valimont. Give me 1 second. I just want to bring up the comments just to make sure I see everybody's comments coming up. And then we will be ready. People are coming in. It's still, people are making their way in as we speak.
Testing 1, 2.
All right. Okay, got comments up, so great. Just leave your comments in the chat if you need to, and I'll try and get back to them as quickly as I can. All right, so the town hall for Gay Valimont, this is the second town hall that Gay Valimont has had over the course of this election cycle. The first town hall was last week, and it was located at the Pensacola Yacht Club, which had a great turnout. The feedback was really good. And so what we're doing now is we're here. I moderated that town hall, but this time I'm not moderating. This time this is a veterans town hall geared towards issues related to veterans, and I am going to be broadcasting in order to show you all everything that's going on. So we're live in Pensacola now. They're just giving me the cue of when they're going to be getting started. Hopefully it starts on time, but if it doesn't, I'll narrate everything through, okay guys? So, like I said, leave your comments, like, subscribe if you can to the podcast and to the live stream. And if you're on Facebook, say hello, share it with all your friends. There's some people who could not make it to the town hall, and so that's why we're live streaming it basically. In order to make it available to everybody across the district extends from Pensacola and Escambia County all the way to Walton County, which is a pretty wide distribution of a lot of miles. So not everybody can make it. It's like 2-hour drive if you live on the eastern part of the district. So we're broadcasting in order to make sure that everyone gets access to the town hall and can actually see it. So without further ado, I think Gay Valimont is in the house. So we also have a special guest, and we'll talk about that soon. In the meantime, though, let's get to some important keeping things, right? So, voting, the election day is on April the 1st, but we actually are encouraging everybody to bank their votes and to bank them early. So, utilize early voting, utilize vote by mail. Today is actually the deadline for vote by mail. So if you want to enroll in vote by mail for this upcoming special election, the deadline to enroll in vote by mail is today, March the 20th. That doesn't mean you can't enroll in vote by mail anymore. What it simply means is that if you want to enroll in vote by mail and have a ballot come to your home this particular special election cycle, you have to do it by today. So that's why it's, hi! So it's important for you all to enroll in vote by mail and do it quickly, do it soon, do it before midnight, tonight really actually. So in order to do that, there's a few ways you can do it. You can call your supervisor of elections office. Supervisor of elections office are probably closed now, so calling them is not an option. You can also go online. Now you have to go to the supervisor of elections of the county that you live in. So, for example, I live in Santa Rosa County, so I would go to votesantarosa.gov in order to enroll in vote by mail. And then that way, I would enroll that way. You can also send an email, but like I said, the people are probably gone in your office now. So really your only option is to enroll online at this point if you want to vote if you want to receive a ballot sent to your home for this particular special election. Okay? So if you live in Escambia County, I'm not sure what their website is. I think it's escambiavotes.gov, but I'm not too sure on that. But you would go to either if you live in Okaloosa County, which is Fort Walton Beach, Niceville, in that area, you would go to the Okaloosa Supervisor of Elections office in order to make sure that you can enroll that way online. So Walton County, there's a small piece of Walton County that is also part of Congressional District 1. And so if you want to enroll and vote by mail, you go to the Walton County Supervisor of Elections and enroll that way. Early voting though. So if you don't want to enroll and vote by mail and you want to, but you still want to vote early, we encourage you to bank your votes and to bank them early. So early voting starts on March the 22nd and it ends on March the 29th. And you need to look at your Supervisor of Election county's websites because not every early voting place that is normally open during like regular elections is going to be open for this special election. So it's going to be very important that you look and see which election polling locations for early voting are available to you. Again, this spans 4 counties, so the locations are going to be different depending on where you live. If you live in Escambia County, Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County, Walton County, that's going to be different based on where you live. So please bank your vote early if you don't enroll and vote by mail by the deadline, which is, again, today. If for some reason you can enroll and vote by mail, if for some reason you don't make it to enroll into early vote between the 22nd and the 29th, the next opportunity you have to vote is April 1st, which is on Election Day. We really don't want people voting on Election Day. We would prefer that you vote early, but you know what? If you got to do it on Election Day, you got to do it. We certainly would rather you vote than not vote. So voting on Election Day, if that's what you have to do, is certainly what we would encourage. The reason why things can happen on Election Day, if you have this plan to vote and then you get out of work early, the lines are long, right? Uh-oh, we just had a surge. Uh-oh, we just had a surge. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. I think we had a little bit of a surge. So, but we're back. One moment. Good. How are you? I am. I was told we were having some audio problems. If we were having audio problems, please let me know, because I heard comments saying that we were having audio problems. Let me just figure it out, just to make sure that you all can hear me, because I'm going to have to go over all of that again if you all didn't hear me. So just let me find out something right quick.
Check, 1, 2.
So what I'm hearing is that Everything looks good now. That's what I'm hearing. So that's what I'm going to hope is that everything is good now. So, not sure if you all heard everything that I was discussing earlier, but the early voting starts on March the 22nd. That goes through March the 29th. We want everybody to vote early, bank your votes early, and then election day is on April the 1st. So if you can't vote early, if you haven't enrolled in vote by mail, then our goal is to ensure that you at least cast a ballot on election day, which is April the 1st. And so we have some exciting news because we have a great guest, actually. That guest who's going to be with Gay today is Amy McGrath. So Lieutenant Colonel Amy McGrath is going to be here today in order to moderate or sort of usher in this Veterans Town Hall. So we want to definitely give a big thanks to her and to that she made the way all the way here in order to come and ensure that we can do this. Hey, how's it going? I'm well. How are you? Thank you. Great to see you. So, so Amy McGrath is going to be here. Okay. They are preparing, and then as soon as they go live, we'll go to it.
Oh yeah, we're voting.
So as they're prepping,
Don't worry about it. We're good to go, right?
as they're prepping
We can make our way. We're doing something good.
to get started, you can ask me some questions or tell me what you think. Ask me anything you want to ask me. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have. Hi from Nashville. Hey, Missy, what you doing in Nashville? Okay. People are filtering in, so. So anyway, so as people start to filter in, pardon for talking to you all from home, so apologize for that. But there's a few things, particularly I think the reason why she's having this town hall, particularly that is centered around veterans, is because this district has the greatest number or greatest concentration of veterans in the entire state, certainly, and the second most in the entire nation. So to have previous representation in Congress, people who did not address veteran-related issues, and people who basically did not center the plight and the struggle that veterans go through, particularly living in this district, has been a real missed opportunity for us, and Gay is certainly trying to change that. So we are here to figure out how the cuts are affecting veterans administrations, why the government is doing this, and basically trying to balance the debt of this nation on the backs of veterans, which is completely unacceptable for people who have donated their lives, sometimes their bodies, on the line in order to protect our freedoms. And so we definitely need to have a conversation with regards to how we can put a stop to the cuts that we are seeing coming down from Elon Musk and Doge. So in the meantime, we're just going to let people filter in. It's filling up. Want you all to see what it's looking like. It's filling up, guys. And it's 6 o'clock, so they should be starting momentarily. And there may be some faces that you all recognize while you're here. So yeah, as people start to filter in, we will get an idea of, so they're going to be starting in about 5 to 10 minutes. I've already seen Gay. She's definitely in the house. I haven't seen Lieutenant Colonel Amy McGrath, but I do see the moderator at the podium. So they may be starting in a shorter amount of time than 5 to 10 minutes. So once they go live with the town hall, I'm going to switch cameras and hopefully you all can see and hear the town hall from there, okay? In the meantime, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'd certainly appreciate that. That way we can bring more content to you all. So I'm just going to finish talking now that they didn't give me the indicate. It doesn't look like they're going to start. So yeah, what do you all think about what's been happening in the country over the last 2 months now? Since 2 months from today, actually. Today's March 20th. So yes, 2 months ago today, that bloated yam was sworn in and basically went on a rampage like a bull in a china shop on this country. And we have got to put a stop to this. What Gay Valimont frequently says in a lot of her videos, and I want to echo that here, is that she routinely says that there are 2 seats that literally separate the majority of Congress being in the hands of Democrats and the power, or at least the majority, being in the hands of Republicans. And so if we can elect Gay Valimont as well as Josh Wheel, who's running in Congressional District 6, if we can elect those 2 people, that'll even it up. Now we have to have a couple more special elections because unfortunately we had 2 congressmen pass away recently, and so that does sort of change up the numbers game a little bit. So those special elections would have to occur. Thankfully, those elections would be in pretty safe Democratic districts. So there's no indication that those seats would flip. There's also a special election occurring in New York. And these special elections are in place. Well, ours is in place, the one in Congressional District 1, because Matt Gaetz stepped down in shame once the details of his escapades with underage women, allegedly, were going to surface in congressional reports. So he decided to step down, had a little stint as Attorney General, but most people were like, you ain't got the votes to be Attorney General, so why don't you go ahead and finish podcasting? That's what you did when you were in Congress anyway. So we really had no representation, even when Matt Gaetz was elected. This was not a person who ran on behalf of the people of Northwest Florida. This is not a person who went to Congress to do anything, to propose any bills on behalf of the people of Northwest Florida. He basically was there because his daddy got him there, and he basically podcasted on the side or live streamed, or every other day he was either on Fox News or Newsmax or OANN, which are these conservative outlets. This guy did not sponsor any bills, didn't pass any legislation that would bring resources, particularly for veterans, to this district. And so now we have an opportunity to send someone who lives in this district, pays taxes in this district, and is willing to do whatever it takes in order to ensure that we have adequate representation, resources brought back to the district, and somebody that we are proud of to represent us in Congress. Sounds like they are about to start.
Back in this corner, and the men is on the side wall here.
I'll let you know. We're going to take a quick break for a minute because I think they're about to start, but if not, I'll come back, okay? So I
Ladies
just
and
got the
gentlemen,
2-minute
if you would
warning.
Make sure that your cell phones are silenced. It would be very helpful.
2-minute warning. I've just got the 2-minute warning. They're going to be starting this town hall in 2 minutes. So again, let me know in the chat if you have any questions. I can maybe ask that question to the people that are here. If you can't hear the people speaking at the town hall, please let me know. And we'll try and get a microphone closer to where it needs to be, okay? So people are filtering in.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Craig McDonald, and I am honored to be here today. First, I want to thank every one of you for attending this town hall. Your engagement is what keeps democracy strong. For people who can stand, please stand. We are going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin, if you haven't already signed in, please do so we can have a record of attendance. And a quick reminder is that early voting starts on March 22nd through March 29th. You can early vote if you haven't already voted by mail, like my wife and I have. And the election is on April 1st. And I'm hoping that Jimmy Petronas gets an April Fool's joke on April 1st. They've asked me to give a few rules for this town hall. During the question and answer, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. Please raise your hand and one of the staff will either bring a microphone to you or there are 2 microphones in the middle of the seats. Please, all participants remain courteous, and expressing different opinions is okay, but we have to be courteous with each other and civil. No attacks, no interruptions, and disruptive behavior will not be accepted. To allow as many people to ask questions, which is very important, please limit it to 1 question and 1 minute. I would like to recognize Thaddeus Wallace from AFGE, who American Federation of Government Employees. Afterwards, feel free to come up and ask him any questions you may have about government employees. Now let's talk about why we're here. As a proud Air Force Vietnam disabled vet, I know the real leadership isn't about party lines. It's about service. It's about integrity. It's about putting people first. That's exactly what Valimont does. She isn't running to represent just one group. She's representing all of us in Florida's 1st Congressional District. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, or if you didn't even vote in an election, Gay Valimont will represent you to her fullest. Gay will be a congresswoman who listens, leads, and fights for what truly matters to us: fairness, opportunity, and a future that works for all of us. We understand that many of you are passionate about important issues, and some of them may be local and not congressional. But thoughtful discussions is encouraged at tonight's town hall. With that, it is my extreme honor and sincere privilege to introduce the next Congresswoman of the Florida District 1 Congress, Gay Valimont.
Hey everybody, hear me? Yay! Thank you so much for coming tonight. It's a big night. This has been a long time in the making. I can't tell you how important it is for me to hear everything you have to say. And I know the rules are don't be angry, but it's okay to be angry, y'all. Stuff is happening. Things are happening. Things are affecting you specifically. And I want to be able to hear that and take it to Washington. Everybody's heard whole lot of stuff about me and things that, about my life and the tragedy that I've been through. But what I want to tell you tonight is about Father Wayne. This is my mom. Say hey, Mom. This is Granny Fran. So, my mom married my stepfather 40 years ago, and he became my father. I had a biological father, but I had a second father. I had 4 parents that were fantastic. My stepfather was a 100% disabled veteran. He spent the majority of his time in the bowels of a ship in the Navy in what year? 52 to 62. So he had asbestosis, and we fought so many years to make sure that he had his VA benefits. It took years and years and filing paperwork and over, and the fight to make sure that he would be taken care of in his old age. He finally got full disability at 84. And my mother reaps no benefits from that because he died 2 years later. So, you know a lot about me. You don't know about how I'm attached to the military. But I think everybody in here should recognize or should know that even if you're not in the military, your neighbor, somebody you go to church with, the person that you run into at the gym occasionally, is a vet or active duty military looking for their benefits when they retire, because you have put your line on the line for this country, and I will always take care of you. these conversations off with getting to know my audience a little bit. So if you know a vet, can you raise your hand? If you are a vet, please stand up. And I know there are active duty military in here, but I'm not going to ask you to stand up because that's weird, right? We're in crisis right now, everybody. I think everybody realizes that. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter that you didn't vote for me last time. What matters to me right now is taking care of the people in this district. And we have more veterans, I don't know if you know this, we have more veterans in this district than any other district in Florida. But more crazy than that, we have the second largest vet population in the country. So, I've been saying this from the beginning of my campaign. Why do we not have the best for our vets than any other place in Florida? Because we should set the standard. And ladies and gentlemen, I plan to do that here, even with these cuts. I promise you. Tonight, we are so blessed. One of the people that I looked up to when I said, can I run against Matt Gaetz in a super red district? And I looked at Amy McGrath. And I looked at her and said, wow, we're nothing alike. She's so much more badass than I am. But she had the guts and the nerve to stand up to Mitch McConnell. And that's the least of what she's done. So I'm going to ask my media specialist, my media director, to come up. Catherine, please come up. And I want you to read everything about Amy McGrath because I don't want to miss one thing about Amy's service.
Thank you very much. Amy McGrath graduated from the United States Naval Academy and was commissioned as a Marine officer in 1997. She served 20 years in the United States Marine Corps. She became the first F-18 weapons systems officer and completed 2 combat deployments and flew 89 combat missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. In 2002, as a weapons systems officer, Amy became the first woman in the Marine Corps to fly a mission in an F-18. In 2004, she transitioned to become an F-18 pilot and completed her second operational tour, deploying to Japan and operating in the Pacific. She completed her 3rd combat deployment in the Helmand province of Afghanistan in 2010. After her operational flying tours, Amy served as a Congressional Fellow, advising a senior member of the United States House of Representatives of Armed Services, United States House of Representatives Armed Services Committee on Defense and Foreign Policy. Subsequently, she served in the Pentagon as the Marine Corps liaison to the State Department and other federal agencies. Amy earned a master's degree in international security from Johns Hopkins University, and she is a graduate of the Center for the Study of Weapons of Mass Destruction's program for emerging leaders in the National Defense University. Her final assignment was as a senior instructor in the political science department in the United States Naval Academy, teaching U.S. government and national security courses before retiring at the rank of lieutenant colonel and moving back home to raise her family. She ran races for the United States House and in 2020 ran for the United States Senate. More recently, she started On Her Board, a 501c4 nonpartisan organization committed to leadership and development for women with a service background and encouraging those women to run for elected office. She founded several pro-democracy independent expenditures to influence electoral politics, including the American SOS Project and the Democratic Majority Action PAC. She is also the author of a book titled Honor Bound, An American Story of Dreams and Service, published by NOV. It's a memoir of her time in the military, what propelled her to run for office, and the hard lessons in leadership, sacrifice, and patriotism she's learned along the way. President Biden appointed Amy to be a member of the United States Naval Academy's Board of Visitors in early 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Amy McGrath.
Thank you. And thank you for having me here. I'm going to be brief because we all want to hear from you. But I want to just start out by thanking you, all of you who are out here, American patriots. There's lots of things you could be doing on, what is it, Thursday? Thursday night here. Why are you here? You're here because you love this country. You're here because you love this community. You know things are not good. You know others are being hurt. And you're not afraid to stand up. You're not afraid to have your voice be heard. And you're here because you want to do something. All right? You want to, right? You put your name on there, Uncle Sam could send you anywhere and in harm's way or anywhere. All right? And in return, what do we get? What do we give veterans in this country? You know, there's a lot of people out there like Elon Musk who think, oh, veterans get a lot of benefits, right? Okay? What do we get? You get the GI Bill, you get a better home loan, maybe, okay? A little bit lower rate. All right, you get some discounts here and there for restaurants. But the biggest thing that you get when you serve your time is health care. That is this handshake deal. Uncle Sam says, you go and you put your butt on the line and you go out there to Timbuktu or wherever they send you. At the end of the day, you will get health care, all right, for the rest of your life. And it will be quality. And that's what this is about. What they're trying to do is gut the VA so they can privatize it eventually. And the problem with that is nobody's calling for that. We have good care. We got to make it better. All right? We got to make it better. And in the process of doing that, they're going to hurt good people. They're already hurting good people. All right? And that's why we got to get her in there. Sorry.
Yes.
I will always call for you. Right here. Oh, this is my cousin Helen. She's not really my cousin, but
Yeah, close
like
enough. Yeah, every time we see each other, we say that because our last names are the same. But anyway, my question concerns the PACT Act. Of all of the individuals that have applied for disability under the PACT Act, what percentage actually receives disability? Because to me, it's just some sort of bubble out there that we gotta catch, but it keeps popping every time we try to reach for it.
I can tell you what we talked to. We went out to the VA a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about the PACT Act, and there were tons of people showing up and signing up and doing the evaluation to see if they had already been exposed. And of the people that showed up, 50% had been exposed to chemicals. 50%. And that was, and like an extraordinary amount. So now the PACT Act has been diminished by, it was like a ton of money that they took away from the PACT Act after they just passed it, so that we could take care of our veterans who had been exposed to burn pits, who had been exposed to toxic chemicals, because that's a huge problem, especially in this district. I don't know if y'all know, but we have special sites that have exposure land you can't touch, land that is contaminated, and we don't have the resources now because they have cut that off to be able to treat those people. And I'm not entirely sure that they are.
And it all goes back to this: are we protecting veterans or not? Because the last administration it was a bipartisan bill, the PACT Act. It helps veterans who were exposed to toxic fumes overseas, mostly my generation, although there are some prior to my generation. But in the Vietnam generation, it was Agent Orange, right? My uncle was exposed to that, and he had problems, and he went to the VA. At the end of his life, it was the Agent Orange problem, and thankfully the VA knew about it and understood it. He wouldn't get the same care out in the private sector. They just don't, and that's why the PACT Act is so important. That's why the VA is so important. It's care for veterans that is specifically for them, all right? And so you have all these Republicans last cycle that voted for the PACT Act because it was bipartisan. It was bipartisan. Great, they voted for it. Awesome. But now what are they doing? They're allowing Elon, all right, to cut the money the resources going to the veterans to get the care. So it's ridiculous. I mean, that's what this is about. I don't know the percentage either, but it's significant.
I mean, the details change every day. Did we have one over here? Oh, here.
Hello, my name is Kate. I've been back in Pensacola since 2012. I was here originally for flight school. I've been receiving care at the Navy Hospital since 2012. I got medically retired in 2016. And I have also seen how staffing has affected not just the VA, but our military healthcare facilities. Once upon a time, I could call in the morning and get a same-day appointment. Now, it might be 2 weeks, might be a month out. And so that's just a concern that I would like you to take with you.
Right.
That we need full staffing because, our military health facilities don't just service the active duty. They service veterans, they service family members, the family health clinic, all the different specialties. And so I think it's super important that we fully staff all of our military care facilities, both VA and the military health care facilities.
Absolutely. From the beginning, I have said we cannot keep and retain doctors if we don't have the best facilities and we don't have an office for them to go to. Right now, currently, we are having problems with our mental health caregivers they have to report back to the building, and they have in the building. There's nowhere for them to specifically have a meeting with their patient, and that's personal. What I'm telling people is if we want to retain physicians in this area, because that's a concern I hear from veterans all the time. I can't see the same doctor. I don't have the same primary care doctor. I can't go in and see the same person every time. Well, it's because we can't keep and retain talent. We have to be able to do that. To do that, we have to give them the facilities to be able to treat patients accordingly. You can't give somebody a shed and say, treat patients. We have to give them what they need. And Amy is right. When you work in a VA clinic, you have to be very specific with the job that you have. I work in sports medicine, so I know the kind of specific medicine that is necessary to treat those specific injuries. And so, yes, Kate, you're right. We need to keep and retain talent, and to do that, we need to work harder for our vets and get a facility here where we can keep our doctors and our nurses. It's not just doctors. We need more nurses than we need anything. Yes. You are the host, so I'll let you talk.
I'm not the host. I'm a Vietnam vet, and the first thing I want to do is to apologize to any Vietnam vet here. I was the one who put the hoses in the 55-gallon drums of Agent Orange to spray out of our birds. I worked at Eglin for 21 years. Eglin has ranges you cannot go on because that's where they tested Agent Orange. But if you look at the Agent Orange directory, you'll see C-52 where we did a lot of missions. That said, our military hospitals are severely underutilized. Why can't we marry the VA facilities with the military, with the Naval Hospital, with the Eglin Hospital? Is the Tyndall Hospital still open?
I can tell you,
And
I've never had a representative that married those things together.
no.
That's true.
And I want to put in a good word for my doctor at the VA because it's the finest care I've ever had. Dr. Paul Jimenez is a Navy Reserve doctor. And he sat me down one day and said, the finest thing I do is sit in this office and take care of veterans. And I will never stop.
And that's the problem. You're not going to get rich taking care of that. It's a calling. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Randy Creel, and a couple of things. One, if you or some of you believe that the Democratic leadership in this country is totally helpless and inadequate and not really making any moves to stop the steamroll of the Trump administration, and if you're also appalled, as I am, at what that same administration is trying to do to veterans, the Social Security Administration, to some, people in the immigrant category that I'm sure do not deserve to be yanked out and handcuffed and shipped off to, some remote facility like Guantanamo. And the list goes on and on and on and on. About the time I think they've announced that they're going to screw with the last area, the last program. Here comes another one. And no one is seeming to do whatever's necessary to even slow them down. They're even recently Trump's claimed that, he could impeach a judge. Oh my God. And what are they doing? Sometimes they spank his hands. Here's what I want to say. The question would be today, what area? Economy? I think economy is a big one. Veterans, as you said, we have plenty of veterans. Matt Gaetz, when he was in office, I don't think he ever mentioned anything about the military, except maybe he would allow an airplane to fly over the Gulf. But the question again is what area? The economy, veterans, health, on down the line, all these things they're attacking. What do you think might be an overstep sufficient for Donald Trump to hang his own butt? I pray every day that Donald Trump will hang himself because we're certainly not slowing him down.
I mean, I completely understand what you're saying. But the thing is, the majority of Americans that voted in our election elected Donald Trump. They elected Donald Trump because they wanted a change. They got one. The thing is, I think the American public was lied to. I think that our veterans were lied to. He made disparaging comments over and over again about our veterans, and people were like, he's just talking, whatever. But then he also is stealing your health care. I'm not going to pretend to be a Donald Trump fan. but I know that I have to work under his administration when you elect me. And I will do that. I will most certainly do that. But what I will do is always be an advocate, to stand up. Because what's not happening right now is the Republicans that are standing behind Donald Trump have the power to stand up to Donald Trump and say, we're holding you up. Our constituents are holding you up. We elected you. You don't have the permission to do this. And so if everybody's asking, what is the Democratic Party doing? What is the Democratic Party doing? The Democratic Party, everybody, does not have enough votes to matter. Unfortunately, we did not win the majority. Nobody has repercussion. Nobody has recourse except for us. We can end that right here. And it's not. I'm not making a stand against everybody. What I'm doing is making a stand for you. Because I live here with you. You are my neighbors. I want to take care of you. I want to take care of my mom. I want to take care of the people of this district. Because you know what happens if we don't? You're all going to move away. You're all going to take your money and you're going to leave this district because you can't afford to live here anymore and you can get a job somewhere else. I want to take care of you because this is our home. This is my home. It's your home. We can take care of it, but we have to do it together. And we can't sit by and not tell the stories that are eating away at your pocketbook to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Because if you want your government to work for you, then you have to tell your government what you expect from them.
The whole country, there's only 3 districts in this country. Why am I here? There's only 3 districts in the country where your vote can actually change things right now. How do we change things in this country? We don't change it by assaulting police officers at the Capitol, all right? We change it through elections. And you all have a special election coming up. The whole country is feeling the way that many of you are feeling right now. What can we do? And they wish, the people in Kentucky who are feeling the way that you feel right now, who are my neighbors, they wish they could vote in 13 days? In 13 days. You can. And you can tell your neighbor and their neighbor. Because that's how we win these things.
Hi, my name is David Watson.
Hi, David.
How you doing? I've worked all over this world, pretty much, all over the free world, in both capacities, civilian and in the military. I've worked on Superfund sites where it's kind of dicey there as whether or not what you're going to do. My issue is we know what the problems are. We know that the VA is being treated unfairly. We know the veterans are being treated unfairly for what they've done, namely sacrifice their life. Okay, in the worst case, or sacrifice their health, or even just sacrifice, period, okay, for this country. And in the payback was supposed to be, yeah, we'll take care of you. Okay, when you get down, you get injured, we're going to see that. We're going to see that you're going to be okay. All right. Well, that promise is not being lived up to. Okay. And the problem is, we all said what the problems are, and we all recognize those problems. My issue is, what do we do about it? Everybody says, well, let's wait for the next, we're going to vote. We're going to wait for the next time to go around. What makes anybody think that this group that's in the White House right now, and all over the government, what makes you think they're going to go quietly into the night?
Yeah. No, I totally get that. They seem invincible, right? It seems as though every bad policy that has gone forward, we're like, it can't get any worse, but it does. I completely understand. I was talking to my chief of staff today, who will be my chief of staff when I go to, Jamie, where are you? Jamie? She's here somewhere. So we were talking today about what are the options for us? What is our recourse? What can we do? What's happening? What is not happening that the Democrats are not getting to right now? And it is, unfortunately, the executive branch. I mean, the judicial branch. Everything, all of the policies that Trump has signed into law. You know, today he got rid of the Department of Education. Not legal. You can't do that without Congress. You can say it's so, but it's not so. So, and I've been telling people this for the last, 20 days. How long has it been? Like forever. 50 days. He's throwing everything he can out. They are throwing everything they possibly can throw out. And everything has to go through the court system. And that's not, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear it's a slow freaking process that nobody wants to have to go through. But also, I think Democrats have taken kind of a light touch on this. Like, oh, we're going to sue. I don't plan on doing that. These are extraordinary times. These times are, especially for y'all, especially for our VA clinic. It is exceptional. So we have to come up with exceptional solutions to these problems. And it has to be legal, but it has to be with the same fervor that they come at us at. It has to be with the same excitement and the same surprise as they do. Because Democrats for so long have been on our back heels. We're reacting. We're reacting and trying to react to what they do. We got to get a step ahead of them, and we got to get tough. I know that people saw this past week that Chuck Schumer caved on the CR. And that's a kind of a touchy subject. Do we shut down the government when it's not working? Or do we keep the government open and cut $800 billion from Medicaid? What's the right answer? I depend on you. When I get to Congress, I will depend on you to tell me those answers. Because you could go either way on that, right? You could go, yeah, most of our district, a lot of our district is are civil servants and work for the federal government. But is it working right now? Is it working for anybody? Everybody that works a federal job is sitting at their desk getting nothing done, worried about the letter that they're going to get. And we see it every day. Y'all, I talked to a lady today, and I just met her. And she works at the Social Security office. And she said, Gay, I'm sorry I hadn't been involved. She said, but I had a panic attack. I had a panic attack because they're going to close this office and nobody's going to have anywhere to go. She wasn't worried about her job. She was worried about the service that she was going to be able to give to people. And I feel that. I feel that, and I'm not an elected official yet. I feel the stress. The last 2 days have been difficult for me, and I'll tell you that because I see the cuts to the VA, and I look at you in your face, and I know that that's what you rely on. I know that on April the 2nd, you're going to look at me to solve that. And I'm going to go in blazing, y'all. Because what else do we have to do? We can elect other people in a couple years. But in this district, we have recourse. We have recourse here and in Florida 6. And if we just eke it out, then we have an even Congress. And if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent, don't you want even government so that there's discussion on both sides? I've said from the beginning, y'all, neither party is going to get what they want, but it sure seems like the Republicans are getting everything they want right now. And I'm not entirely sure it's the Republicans. I'm pretty sure it's just Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I don't think Republicans asked for this. I don't think the Republican vote was set up to destroy their neighbors. I just don't believe that. Who's got the next question? I'll stop talking. Chuck.
Hi, my name is Christina. I'm an Air Force veteran. Hey. My spouse is still active duty. I have a couple points. One is that Agent Orange was brought up earlier. Those presentive benefits for things like diabetes, for those who may have been exposed to Agent Orange, hypothyroid cancer, there's a lot of different things on that list. By decentralizing the VA, you will never be able to provide for veterans the way that we are able right now to provide for those exposed to Agent Orange ever. And from that information, we're also able to better protect our active duty military. From that information, we're better with our public health, we're better with chemicals, we're better with a lot of things. We cannot decentralize the VA system. We will lose, all of us, we will lose. The other thing is that there is not enough research. I know right now we're just struggling to hang on, but there's absolutely not enough research on what's happened to women veterans, particularly with reproductive cancers and things like that.
Thank you for that comment. And the other thing you should know about the VA, and I know you know this, is it's one of our country's leading institutions of research. And veterans benefit from that research. You're on the leading edge of things. And that is being cut as well. And that's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt military families, veterans families. And it's so, I mean, thank you for those comments.
Who has the microphone next?
Hi. So I'll answer some of your questions because you asked them. I'm a retiree. I'm married to a retiree. I'm a federal employee. Every freaking Monday morning, I go in and I write my effing bullet points on what the hell I did. Speaking of that, I'm taking care of all the other freaking people that don't have any other place to go and taking care of them, the hundreds of people that show up to us. I'm tired of voting for people that are nice and kind. You know what? We used to say when they go low, we'll go high. Fuck that. We need to go to hell. And you know what? I'm tired of they say enough is enough. 10 people voted for that budget. You know what? You know what I want you to do? Shut that shit down. Shut it down. I'll vote about a paycheck. In November, I started putting money in damn savings, knowing that the last 35-day government shutdown was under Trump. I knew that. I was prepared. And to give in, to curl over and run over, what? I'm tired of that. I'm tired of voting for people that will go to that White House and don't stand there for me. They all have a great voice and want to say some shit until they get there. I've heard from AOC. I've heard from Bernie. I've heard from a few of them. What, 3 or 4 out of how many of them? You know what? Tell me something that makes me want to vote for you. Tell me, being honest, I ain't going to vote for him. I'm going to show up and I'm going to vote. But give me something that tells me that I can. You're not going to be another one of them.
Let me tell you. And I have prided myself on this from the beginning. I am not a politician. I don't know if y'all noticed, I'm not like super well spoken or like I come from sports medicine. I'm exactly like you. I I pay my bills here. I pay my homeowner's insurance here. And I don't know if you know about my history. So, my husband passed away of ALS, and my 8-year-old son died of a brain tumor within 6 months of each other. What I learned in that was that it's easy to parse out what's important and bullshit that isn't. It is super important to understand where your home is, who matters, where you pay your bills, who gives a shit about you. It matters. And I can't sit here and tell you that I'm going to do everything right. I'm not going to do everything right. But I promise you, every damn day of the week, I don't know how not to fight for you. Because that's what I'll do. That's who I am. And I've gotten this from the beginning. I've gotten this from both sides of the aisle. Oh, so you want to be a politician? They'll get you too. You'll be crooked soon. Ask my mama if I'm capable of lying. I'm not a liar. I have no ambition to be anywhere other than here. And my ambition is to make your life better, is to make our neighbors safe, I have enough money. I mean, I pay my bills. It's not awesome, but I'm not looking for a job on OAN or Fox News or to be famous. Y'all, I want to go to Washington and do my damn job and come home to this beautiful area, to these beautiful people, and serve you. Serve you.
And here's the thing about Gay. One more thing I have to just say. Look, she's running this is a super red district. You can win in a super red district. You better believe she's going to be a fighter. You better believe you better believe it, because you don't win without being a fighter. She's got it. And the other thing you should know about Gay, okay? You know how much money she gets from the party? How much money do you think she gets from the party? Political party? Zero. She gets zero money. What does that mean? That means she is herself. She is not beholden to anyone or anything or any party or any billionaire. She is beholden to you. And that is awesome. And not every district has that. It's huge.
Yeah, we haven't taken any PAC money. We've raised a ton of money, and they won't tell me how much anymore because I keep telling people. And they're like, stop telling people how much money we've raised. I don't know why it's a secret. Anyway.
That's from people.
That's
not from the
it's
individual
$33 a person. Our average donation is $33.
You're not handing draft legislation to her when you're giving her $33, okay? It's not Mitch McConnell like.
No, but I would love to hear your story. Right here.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's George.
Hi, George.
I got 4 questions.
Okay.
With everything that was done over the last 5 years with the previous president and the Democratic control, what would you have done differently? That's question 1. Question 2. VA hospital. Why didn't you ask Biden and Obama about the VA hospital when they were in office? 3.
I feel like I'm going to lose track of these questions. Can I answer them as we go?
Okay.
Okay, so Obama did an overhaul of the VA healthcare. He had to. So things started working gradually, better, gradually. But it was a disaster once he got there. He worked tirelessly. I believe things got a bit better, but no, has the VA been solid? Have you been able to go to the VA and see the same doctor every time at a convenience? No.
Let's go back to the first question.
Okay.
What would you have done different than what Biden and the Democrat Party did for the last 4 or 5 years?
Well, okay, so a couple things. So I think the Democratic Party and the Republican Party kicked the can down the road way too much on immigration. We kicked it down the road, it became a huge problem, and finally there was a bipartisan bill that came out that was unacceptable to the current president when he was the former president, but now he's the current president again. And so that got nixed. That is a prime example, and I tell you, I use immigration as the example because there were so many opportunities when Democrats and Republicans could have done something, and they didn't. They didn't because they didn't want the other party to get the credit. We could have done something about it. From the beginning, sir, I have said Democrats and Republicans can't get anything done if we don't discuss it. What was the next one?
If Biden hadn't wasted so much money on illegal aliens, kicking veterans out of hotels in New York City, couldn't they have given more money to the vets?
Okay, so we disagree on that. There is a certain amount of money that is set aside for people that are seeking asylum in the United States. Those people were sent questionably, illegally to New York City, to Martha's Vineyard, to different places on the state's dime, right?
In Pensacola, and I'm in a business in Pensacola, and I'm in a business that requires a high degree of consumer confidence. And I'm deciding right now whether or not I'm going to host an event that brings people to Pensacola Beach from all over the country. Not a lot of people. I'm small beans, but I'm irate, and I'm with you, and with you, and with you. All these people have spoken up, all of it. And so I want you to go raise hell. I'm going to vote for you to go raise hell because economically, I'm choking as a small business owner. I would love to hire people in this town, but I can't because I'm afraid of what that means. And I want to say something to the rest of us that are in here. These guys can only do so much. We're in the minority in the House. I mean, she can only do so much. We have to go talk to our neighbors, even when they spit in our faces for doing so. She's been doing it for months. Dr. Z's been doing it. We have to be brave enough to put out yard signs and canvas and talk to our neighbors. I stood on my porch with the McGuire's run and hollered at people as they went by. It was great. Anyway,
10,000 people, you told me.
It wasn't 10,000, but I mean, it was a lot. And I don't want to do that. I'm tired, but I can't imagine how tired you must be. So anyway, go give them hell. And thank you. Thank you.
But the economy, look, a lot of people voted for this administration because they were hurting and they thought that things were going to get better. They didn't like the way things were. But the fact of the matter is, what's happening right now is he's actually wrecking the economy. We had one of the best, economic recoveries, and we had the best economic recovery in the first world. All right, and you talk about consumer confidence. We have the lowest rate of consumer confidence in the past 45 years right now. And it is because of this administration. Didn't happen 3 months ago. It happened now. It's all plummeting. Wall Street's plummeting. It's the tariffs. It's causing uncertainty. I just came from a